And it's just a huge honor for me today to be podcast interviewing Dr. Cyrus Tahmasebi, DDS, FACD. He is the inventor of FirstFit Technology. He previously served as past president of Viax Dental Technologies, past vice president of clinical education and research and development at DenMat, and CEO of Glamsmile Distribution USA. He received his DDS degree from the University of Southern California and practiced dentistry in La Jolla, California. He has lectured extensively in the United States as well as in more than 30 other countries on a wide array of dental topics. He received his dental degree from the University of USC in 91, started practicing dentistry in La Jolla the same year. He continued to stay involved at USC Dental School as a guest lecturer, as well as served as the president of its Century Club Alumni Association and the Board of Counselors. He also served on the board of directors of the ADA, the San Diego Dental Association, the Orange County Dental Academy. He is fellow of the College of Dentistry, as well as a fellow of the International Academy of Aesthetic Dentistry. In his professional career, he has done research and development work at laser whitening as the medical director of BriteSmile company, introducing laser whitening globally, subsequently serving as CEO of Glamsmile in the US, UK, and Canada. He then became the vice president of education as well as research and development at DenMat, where we had the founder, Bob Ibsen, on the show, and where he invented and brought many products to market, including FirstFit Technologies. He continued the research and development of FirstFit at Viax Dental, where he served as president and managed the FirstFit Technology for global distribution. In the course of his work at these companies, he has introduced many products in dentistry, including Diode laser, lesion detection light, the 1 Hour Veneer system, the most recently, the invention of FirstFit minimally invasive dentistry. He has appeared as a dental expert on CNN, CBS, ABC, and other TV networks. He is recently featured on the cover of Inside Dentistry magazine. He also lectures globally on cosmetic dentistry as well as minimally invasive techniques. I could literally read your bio. I mean, it just goes on and on and on for 40 days and 40 nights. You've had a very distinguished career. Let's start with Bob Ibsen and DenMat. Before we get into FitSmile, you and I both knew Bob Ibsen very well. He was an obstetrician. What is it? Not an ophthalmologist. An optician first, and then he became a dentist. And his knowledge in optician, he realizes that people didn't want these silver dark fillings; they wanted tooth-colored fillings. So he started a dental materials company, and that was DenMat. And then later, he didn't like the way Crest and Colgate were cleaning his restorations. They thought it dulled them. So it was counterintuitive. He needed something harder, like a titanium dioxide, to put a nicer finish. And then that was Rembrandt. So tell what do you think of Bob Ibsen? What would you say about his legacy?
I God bless his soul, Howard. You and I both knew the man, and he was an innovator. He really did contribute tremendously to dentistry. He was one of the first to come out and promote minimally invasive dentistry. Lumineers was a game changer, and I think he really, from my perspective, he did a tremendous amount of contribution to dentistry, and I think we owe him a lot of gratitude. And I know he was a personal friend to you and one to me, and thank you for mentioning him and bringing him up at this point.
Well, I wanted to bring him up because dentists do one thing better than anyone else. They always eat their young. And whenever you're Bob Ibsen and you come out with a new technology, you'd think that the first reaction would be like, oh, yeah, we've had this other stuff for 100 years. Thank you for trying something new. But when you try something new in dentistry, they just eat you. And you pioneered so many new things in dentistry, you certainly have got to have felt pushback before.
Absolutely, Howard. You're absolutely right. It's unfortunate. In many ways, it's good that we're conservative as dentists, and I can speak to that as a dentist. But, we're also very hard on innovation, and we're very critical of new systems, new techniques, new technology. And I hope to God that your show and people who are innovative can help us, as a profession, to start opening our minds and start looking at a paradigm shift and looking down the future and accepting change because it's coming whether we like it or not.
Well, I want to start. I'm gonna start back. I know I called you to be on the show. You didn't call me. This is not a commercial, but I want to walk through the deal. You started with Glamsmile. You started with dentistry. After you became a dentist and did all that stuff, but your first corporate gig was really kind of Glamsmile USA. Talk us through the journey. What is Glamsmile? They have Glamsmile in Belgium and other places. What is Glamsmile? And tell us the Glamsmile story.
Glamsmile is an innovative company based in Belgium, Ghent, Belgium, as you mentioned. And they've been innovative in bringing new products to dentistry as well. So one of the things that they brought to dentistry was a way in which we could deliver multiple veneers in a 3D printed tray that aligned the veneers in a system in which it made it easier for dentists to place their veneers in. So that's where and how I got involved with Glamsmile, picking up distribution rights for their product in the US, Canada, and UK. And it was a very innovative product. It was actually with that product that when Credit Suisse Bank bought DenMat from Bob Ibsen, they asked me to come over and bring that technology and apply it to lumineers.
Wow. That was was Bob at the time the richest dentist in the world? I mean, at that time, wouldn't he have been?
I would imagine so. I can't think anyone who was more successful in managing his business than Bob Ibsen.
Let me tell you how much money you had to have to be Bob Ibsen. I'm at his house, we're eating lunch, and all of a sudden, I almost dropped the fork. My 4 boys, he had his own golf course in Santa Maria. My boys were having a race with the golf carts on his golf course, and I could see the scar. And I almost had a heart attack. And Bob said, sit down. No one ever golfs on anything. He'll give the gardeners something to do. And he didn't even break eye contact with me as my boys were destroying his golf course. But he's such a family man, down to earth. But he was just a pure innovator. Dentists, they don't go buy the U.S. distribution rights for a dental company in Belgium. Where does this come from in your upbringing, your life? Most dentists couldn't find Belgium on a map. How did you go find that and make this all happen?
Well, I guess I was lucky somewhat because at the time I was the medical director for BriteSmile, a company that set up these centers for whitening. And I've always had a business inclination as well. It was at that company that I had a call from Guy, who was the CEO of Glamsmile in Belgium. And he said, I think we have an innovative system that would do well in your BriteSmile centers. And you can do veneers out of those centers. So it was that connection that led me into getting involved with Glamsmile. So I guess some degree of luck, Howard, to put it honestly. I don't want to take credit for it.
Well, I don't know, because I've met some incredible so-called lucky dentists who the biggest dental show in the world has got to be Cologne, Germany, every other year. They do it every other year because all the dental companies in the world need 2 years for a product cycle. So everybody releases their new product in Cologne. And I've met some gazillionaire dentists over here around the world. I'll say, well, where did you make all the money? Oh, I was at Cologne looking for something. I was looking for somebody who was like crushing it in like South Korea or Moscow, but didn't really have a U.S. company yet. And I wanted to get the U.S. rights to the next best thing. And then when I got it, I knew who to send the samples to. I knew, Gordon's CRA or my university and whatever. And now everybody that buys this stuff in the U.S. has to buy it through him. So, a lot of this stuff, you guys always are humble, but you make your own luck. What would you say to a kid who's never been to Cologne, the Cologne meeting?
The best thing I can tell him is I remember, one time, and I grew up in England for a while, I was watching TV, and Jack Nicklaus had just won the British Open. And the interviewing guy, who was a snooty British guy said to him, it's funny. It seems like you get so lucky when you win this event. And his response was priceless. He said, the harder I work, the luckier I get. So work hard, stick at it, take a chance. That's really all I can say.
Yeah, that is well said. So then at Glamsmile, then you're at DenMat, and we talked about Bob Ibsen, and then you were at Viax. What is Viax Dental Technologies?
When I was at DenMat, Credit Suisse had just bought the company from Bob Ibsen, and they brought me in, and then another financial group took over DenMat. I was working on a project called FirstFit, and I really loved the future of that technology. So I negotiated to purchase the technology from DenMat, and I had pharmaceutical company backing me in those negotiations. And it was with that pharmaceutical company in Miami named Viax that we bought the technology of FirstFit from DenMat. So that's really how Viax Technologies formed. It was a group of investors and myself purchasing that research and development of FirstFit from DenMat and setting up our own company.
Yeah, so they Credit Suisse group bought DenMat Holdings at the time. That was in 2008, and DenMat was doing $125 million of yearly revenue, according to Credit Suisse. That is an amazing. So here's the average dentist doing about $750,000 a year. Just round that up to $1 million, and Bob was doing $125 million a year revenue. And a lot of those products, a lot of people would say to me, you don't need Rembrandt toothpaste. You could just do Crest. A lot of people, everybody always had these deals, but it's kind of Chinese math. When there's 2 million dentists around the world, 1% of the dental market in a core paste buildup, a bond, 1% of any product category, knock your socks off. When I go to the Copenhagen meeting, I was looking at this guy like, that guy looks familiar. I went and it was Bob, it was Dan Fisher of Ultradent. And he immediately said, "Hey, what do you think of this?" And he looked like a kid in a playground. And for 5 days, Dan Fisher just runs from booth to booth to booth, looking for somebody's wildly crazy idea. And it's just a different mindset. So what is the Fitbit?
So FirstFit is
Fitbit.
Yeah, nope.
Freudian slip.
FirstFit is a technology whereby we use 3D printed guides to prep teeth. So we essentially print guides that helps dentists prepare teeth. So these 3D printed guides go in a patient's mouth, a handpiece goes in there, and they can use that to prepare teeth. And because we know what the preparation is going to be, we can have the final restoration ready for them to deliver. This technology is incredibly useful when it comes to doing big veneer cases. We can do a digital smile design for the dentist, showing them where and how much they're going to minimally reduce a tooth structure. And because we know what the final preparation is going to be using these guides, we can create these minimally invasive veneers that fit onto that arch and create a beautiful smile form using a 3D printed tray to deliver the whole thing. So essentially, in less than an hour, they can prep teeth and in about half hour deliver 10 veneers. So in about an hour and a half, change someone's smile. All predictable, all digitally designed. That's really FirstFit.
Well, that's a tall order. If everything you just said is true, that's like an earthquake.
It really is, Howard. You should talk to the dentists who have tried this technology. They will tell you it's a game changer. And, I'm passionate about it, and I'm going to promote it on your show. But really, it enables any dentist anywhere in the world to use these 3D printed guides to prep teeth and use a 3D printed tray to deliver 10 veneers in essentially an hour and a half to 2 hours.
Okay, well, I want you to walk through. I mean, I know my homies. They want the Betty Crocker recipe. First thing you said that I'm excited about is minimally invasive, because when I got to school in '87, the cosmetic gurus of our time, the whole lecture was on what diamond burrs they'd use. They had their own Brasler burr kit named after him, and Peter Brasler would be at the back of the room. He was I love that guy the most. I mean, nobody could party like it was 1999 other than Peter Brasler. I'm dead serious. Just a hell of a guy. And then they get these superstar legends and they just file every tooth down to a kernel of rice. And it was all for cosmetics. And I thought, and today, if they were doing that, you'd remember when they just routinely well, those laterals are tilted, so we're going to endo those because the prep will get into the nerve. But now you get a lot of unwinding with Invisalign first, or minimally 6 months ortho, or it's so much more conservative. Talk about to the young kids in school how much more conservative it is today than in the 80s.
Absolutely, Howard. I think you're right on money there. I mean, it's a shame. We're a little slow to change as an industry, the dental industry. And with technology today, we can be so much less invasive in our approach to preparing teeth. It's funny you brought up Cologne at the IDS show, at the last show in Germany. A gentleman, Christian Coachman, who speaks for Invisalign, was talking about, new technologies and digital smile design. And he said something really interesting. He said there will come a day where we dentists will no longer just pick up a handpiece and randomly reduce healthy tooth structure. And I couldn't agree more. He said nowadays with digital smile design, we can plan where and how much we're going to reduce any tooth. We can use a heat map on a digital design to see exactly how much tooth structure we're reducing. And because we're going to know and plan what our reduction is, we can be minimally invasive and very accurate in designing a final restoration. He said, furthermore, we can use 3D printed guides to do that. He was talking about our technology. So really, the difference is no longer do we need to pick up a handpiece and cut down healthy tooth structure to create space for a lab technician to give us a restoration. We're going to use digital design to help us be minimally invasive.
Well, you, by the way, Christian Coachman, he was on the show, episode 186. And when I lectured in San Paulo in 2000, I believe he had 38 dentists in his family. It was like 30, dentists, lab tech. So Christian Coachman has some type of genetic disease that causes you to be a dentist. I'm not sure what, but I wish you would just say everything you said again, because when you leave veneers and go to implants, the all-on-4 boys spend half the day shaving down all this bone so they can do their technique. I'm like, I'm not sure you should be filing down a bunch of enamel or shaving off your mandible so that your technique can work in this guy's mouth. What does that make you? Because I know you passionately believe this, but how could you believe that and then not cringe when you saw an all-on-4 case shaving down the ridge?
Yeah, well, a lot of things we do in dentistry, there are techniques and methods that I necessarily don't apply in my practice or believe in. I, like you, and I know you for a long time, you've also been a huge advocate for minimally invasive approach to dentistry. I'm very much in that camp. So personally, I applied technology to its best in terms of minimally invasive approach. And I know technology has been applied the other way, as you mentioned, in terms of cutting down the mandible, using guides. So we each, in our own terms, apply technology to the way we feel best fits dentistry. The way FirstFit applies it to dentistry is very much in a manner in which we save healthy tooth structure. And that's really at the heart of our technology. We're using 3D printed guides to prep teeth in the most minimal way possible and plan it digitally so that any dentist anywhere in the world now can use these guides to prep teeth and deliver a restoration and remove the need for temporaries as well, which is a major advantage to the practice and particularly to the patient.
So, go through it for my homies. So go. So they're driving to work right now. Most listening to iTunes. I don't know if it's because they can see my face on YouTube, so they go to iTunes. I'm not sure. Maybe with your handsome face, we'll get more views on YouTube on this show. But welcome to the impression, the design, the 3D printing guide,
Sure.
Receiving the case, the prep, the seating, because this is all counterintuitive. Because
It really is.
They think
You're absolutely right.
because you do impression, design, 3D printing guide, receive case, prep, seat, but they do that opposite. They prep, then So go through how the prep is the fifth step as opposed to the first step, and also, not any lab could do this, right?
No, you're absolutely right. There are 10 major labs in the US that have the technology. And, you can go to firstfit.com and look up the technology and where and how you can send your cases. For instance, DSG Lab, who has multiple labs around the country, is one of the providers of the technology. So most dentists out there can find a lab that they can send a case to. But essentially all they do, and I'll walk you through the process, is either they take a full arch upper and lower polyvinyl siloxane impression, or they can scan the teeth. They send that to the participating lab near them that provides the technology. Then they will get a digital preview of what that preparation will look like on those teeth. Let's say for a veneer case, they will see exactly where and how much each tooth is going to be reduced to create the perfect arch form. Once they've seen the preparation and they like it, they can also see what the final restorations will look like on that patient's teeth without even having touched the teeth at this time. So all of this is digitally designed. They get a preview, and once they okay that, then they get the guides and the burr, and the patient comes back and they have a specific handpiece that fits these guides. They put the guides in the patient's mouth. Let's say for a 10-unit veneer case, it's probably 8, 9 guides they put in a patient's mouth. They use the guides to prep the teeth, and then the veneers are all lined up in a 3D printed tray. They put the veneers in place, and we'll go through the delivery technique with them at their certification course. They put those veneers in. The tray holds them all in place. They can check the margins, tack cure them individually, remove the tray, and do the final cleanup. That's a quick, overall view of the process.
And who's your product champion? I mean, are you who's gonna do these cases and lecture, make an online CE for Dentaltown, or post a case on Dentaltown? Who would that be?
Right now, we have the big names that are on board. We've done cases with Dr. David Garber, Ross Nash, Christian Coachman. We've got some really great guys that have used the technology. I had a great conversation with Mike DeTola. So we have some great guys that are on board that are, using the technology in their practice, that are looking at doing further development on the technology. So, we're at our early stages, and we're very excited about the future of this, because I really believe the future of dentistry lies in 3D printing.
Now, would a dentist ever need or want to own their own 3D printer for this?
Maybe in the future. Right now, their investment in the technology is $1,500. That's all they're investing in this to get certified, to get the right handpiece, And that's it. Once they have the handpiece and once they know how to use the guides, they'll just send in the cases that they want to use the technology with. Eventually, maybe so. Maybe they can print their own final restoration. But I don't think we're quite there yet.
Did you know Mike the Man DeTola was the first guest on my show?
Oh, he is amazing.
He's just the funniest guy in dentistry. There is no one with a drier, twisted sense of humor than Mike DeTola. How's he doing?
He's doing great. And, as always, he's looking to, bring the next new thing to dentistry.
Yeah, now his dad was a dentist. So he's got that genetic disease thing going with the dental deal. So you don't need a 3D printer. Dentists, they just, they, like I say, they always eat their young. They always shoot down, their first reflex is to shoot down an idea. But then they go home and they think about it. And I love dentists for this too. I don't want some guy, if I have to have a bypass someday saying, I'm going to check out this new thing I just bought at the bypass convention. I love my conservative homies, but how is this taking off? How long has it been out and how long is it, and how's it going?
It's we've been doing a research and development on this for 12 years. It started at DenMat 12 years ago. We started introducing it to the marketplace about 5-6 years ago. We started in, Germany, Japan, Brazil, Panama, Costa Rica. It took us 2 years to get through the FDA, to get a clearance to bring it to the U.S. market. So it was only about a year ago that we introduced it to the U.S. market. So it's new here, even though it was out in other places, but it's taking off. We had at the Greater New York show, last show, we had a capacity for 600 dentists, and it was filled, and we had people sitting in the corridors and lining up to hear about this. So now it's starting to catch on.
And, money matters. Are you having better luck when they take impression like vinyl polysiloxane full arch and send it in versus oral scan? Because these oral scanners are a chunk of change.
Yeah, we can work with both. And we've been working with both. 90% of the cases we're getting are polyvinyl siloxane. All we do then is pour it up in a stone that's easy to scan, and we'll scan the case ourselves. And then we're off to the races. But for those who have scanners, it's just easier.
But which one is higher quality, though? If I set you an oral scan or a vinyl polysiloxane or a which one would be higher quality in your mind?
I think scan makes life easier for us, to be honest with you, for the labs. And it's probably more accurate. But at the end of the day, we've managed to figure out how to make these guides in a way in which the final restoration is an excellent fit. So, once you send us a scan, it makes the process more efficient, but we've been doing the technology with polyvinyl siloxane at this point.
Okay, here's the problem, my next question. So if you're, most of all my viewers are under 30, because by the time you're 30, you're smart enough not to listen to me. You gotta be young, green, and naive to listen to me. But they always say, well, I want to know what oral scanner you would buy. Now, I'm going to ask him this, but remember, it's called channel conflict. If he owns a lab and he's getting scans from, say, 3M's scan or oral scanner, 3Shape, he doesn't want to piss off all the oral scanning. Why should he ruin his life to answer your question? I'm still going to ask, but always be suspect of channel conflict. But she's 25, she's driving to work, and she's saying, come on, man, there's a bunch of oral scanners. You're older than me. You've been around the block. If you were going to buy one oral scanner, Cyrus, which one would you buy?
And I've played around with a lot of them, and there's a lot of good ones out there. You mentioned all of them. I think I'm particular to 3Shape, but I don't want to, sway anyone anyway, because I'm not an expert in scanners, and I don't claim to be. But, we can accept a scan from any of the systems that you just mentioned, Howard, and they're all great products.
I want to ask this is a selfish question for me. I respect you as a hardcore dentist entrepreneur. So we just had Smiles Direct Club go public. They were trying to use teledentistry technology. The orthodontists, man, they've held their prices $6,500. They want more patients. They want They want everything in the world, but they don't want to lower their price. I mean, they want to do faster. They want to go easier. They want to go higher quality, but they don't want to lower their price. So here's an innovator says, you know what we're going to do? You know, those orthodontists, they see you once a month for 2 years. We don't even need to see you once a month. We're gonna do you 14 trays at once. We're gonna drop the price $2,000. Blah 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 blah. And I don't think they have any idea how rich and wealthy orthodontists are, and they're going to come out them with 50 state attorney generals, 50. They're going to sue them into the ground. But from a pure, I know Smiles Direct Club is dead because I know the orthodontist, man. There's 10,800 of them. They all make $300,000 a year. General dentists might not be smart enough to join the ADA in their local dental society. The orthodontists aren't naive like that. They're sending so much money to St. Louis telling the AAO, you go after these guys and they'll get them. I mean, it'd be like Muhammad Ali showing up looking for me. I mean, but from the merits of dental entrepreneurism, was there anything you liked about Smiles Direct Club, that innovation, that new technology?
You know, I love the fact that they went to the consumer. I love the fact that they set a price that's affordable for the average Joe to have their kids' teeth lined up, and I think they made it a more democratic process. Where they failed, in my opinion, in their business model is they tried to cut out the dentist. And I think the dentist still needs to play a role in the treatment of the patient. I don't think it's feasible for a patient to send a scan or an impression of their own teeth to a company that will provide them a dental product and cut out the dentist completely. I think that's the weak link in their business model, Howard. And that's where I believe there's a failure there. And I hope to God they'll approach that and change their business model, because what they've done for dentistry, anytime you make it easier for a greater number of people to get dental care, you're doing a service to the community. But you can't leave out the professionals who will take care of those people.
And that is where Align Technology was so much smarter, because Joe Hogan, he knew when he came out with Align Technology, he knew he was going to court the orthodontist. And he didn't even care about the general dentist. He knew he had to win the orthodontist over first. In fact, ortho's bizarre. You know how many ortho reps that I've gone to dinner with that said, if my orthodontists know that I called on a general dentist, they'll blackball me. Have you heard that before?
Yep, makes sense.
Yeah, and Joe Hogan was smart enough to know I got to win the orthodontist over first. And what did Smiles Direct do first? Oh, we're going to sue any dental society or up in Canada. Well, if you're a dental society and you say anything, the first thing we're going to do is sue you. That's real smart, bozo. Yeah, you're just a little genius. That guy, he's an idiot. His first move was to bite the dental societies and orthodontists when he should have been winning them over. You'll attract more bees. When he launched that lawsuit against the Canadian dental societies, that's when I could see the few people supporting him in Dentaltown flip that day. It was over.
Yeah.
It's like, really?
And that's it.
You're going to come after us and beat us with a stick? That's your best idea? Okay.
You're absolutely right.
Okay, you're dead.
Absolutely right.
Yeah. So,
absolutely right.
So, Invisalign but I'm holding you this oral scanner deal because I know my homies, and if it costs a lot of money, they're more focused on that. So if they're going to get an oral scanner and they're going to do clear aligners, Invisalign is owned by Align Technology, which also owns iTero. You said 3Shape, which it seems to me any crown and bridge restorative implantology prosthodontist likes 3Shape. But all the orthodontists like iTero, because it's owned by Align Technology, which owns Invisalign. So what would you say if she was a young dentist and she wanted to be a cosmetic dentist? Because what you're talking about is all cosmetic. So I'd imagine a lot of people in your market are probably in the clear aligner market.
They are. Absolutely. I think, they go hand in hand. Anytime you want to be minimally invasive in doing veneers, which is a great application of our technology, a lot of times you want to do some aligners, you want to do some correction. And so iTero is a great product as well. We will gladly take scans from iTero, which has an application for orthodontics as far as aligners. So great product as well. So you're absolutely right. A lot of the pros and restorative dentists like 3Shape, a lot of those guys who offer ortho as well and aligners in their practices use iTero, and we gladly accept scans from both. So yes.
Okay, if I go to your website that you want them to go to find this is FirstFit.
Yes.
And you got to remember that. Why do I always, every time I think of your company, I think of Fitbit?
Well, just think of it as first time and it fits. FirstFit.
I'm sorry about that. I'm just being on, but yeah, my brain Fitbit. But when you go to FirstFit and not Fitbit, FirstFit, it says FirstFit powered by Henry Schein. What does powered by Henry Schein mean?
So recently, about a year ago now, actually, so it's not that recent, Henry Schein acquired the global rights for this technology. So they're putting their power behind bringing this technology to market and making it a viable technology for dentists around the world. So I couldn't be happier. I couldn't partner with a better a better company that has a greater reach than Henry Schein, that's promoting and helping new technologies and new techniques to help dentists in their practice. So that's what it means when it says powered by Henry Schein. They have the global rights for this technology.
Yeah, you know who Stan Bergman of the CEO of Schein, who he reminds me of is John Chambers of C.E.O. Because in the 94 to 2000 stock market crazy, when there were four henchman stocks, it was Intel and Microsoft, called Wintel, and then it was Dell and Cisco. And Cisco, John Chambers, he didn't have an R&D department. He said, you know what? When the CEO has an R&D department, it's always a dud. He says, I let the guys out there who are born to be entrepreneurs, let them go find the deal, and then I'm going to get out my checkbook and just buy him. And the reason he could buy everyone is because once he bought you, he didn't get in your way. If you wanted to stay in Salt Lake City or Wichita, he didn't care. And he said, why? How am I going to micromanage your company? You're the one who invented this stuff. And that is absolutely Stan Bergman's deal. Stan Bergman is like John Chambers in the fact that he has bought, I think Stan's merged M&A activities about 70 companies, but just like Cisco, the reason he can buy so many companies is because once he buys you, he's not going to stand there and micromanage you and drown the kitten, He sees how this is a fit, and then he buys it, and then so you get an advantage. You're part of the network, but you're not going to be micromanaged to where you regret selling to Schein. So do you think doing this, the Schein, getting the rights to this globally, you think that will be a plus for your company?
Absolutely. We couldn't have really, when you have a game changer, when you have a technology that can apply across the board in dentistry, there's no one better to partner with than a company that has that level of distribution and reach. And to your point, Howard, you're right on the money. That allows you to grow your technology, manage it, input on it, and give you total freedom to expand it and develop it to the best of your ability and just support you. That's really my experience with this. And it's been amazing because there's no way we could have reached out to so many dentists and started so strongly, especially in the U.S. market where we're introducing this and focusing in on right now.
Okay, but I want to get specific. Is FirstFit, is this about veneers, or is it or also about a crown? Because in all fairness, my homies listen to you. They do a lot. They do mostly single unit crowns. Veneers aren't their bread and butter practice. So is this a veneer technology, or is it also a single unit crown technology?
Really glad you bring that up, because it is a single crown technology as well, but in single crowns, it is limited, Howard. I don't want to oversell this. It's more of an onlay type preparation. It doesn't follow the gingival outline, and we can't go subgingival. It's more of a tabletop onlay preparation. The technology is really in its infancy when it applies to crowns. So in the cases where it's more of an onlay type preparation, it's a great application. But when it comes to, having large old fillings, those that extend below the gum line, you can't use FirstFit technology. I don't want to oversell this, So
okay, same question about bridge.
Oh, it is amazing for a bridge. And let's talk a little bit about that. It's minimally invasive in its approach to doing a bridge. You and I both know that traditionally those inlay retained bridges or Maryland type bridges haven't done so well historically. For those of us who have been big promoters of minimally invasive dentistry, in my practice, nothing made me feel more guilty than cutting 2 healthy teeth down for a 3-unit bridge. So I always try to do innovative stuff and do Maryland type bridges. And, at the time I was using Empress, and, who knows, that had an MPA of 190 or something, and it would either flex or break or debond. Now, though, using our technology, we can create guides that creates minimally invasive cuts in the teeth that allow us to do a 3 inlay retained bridge that is no more than 2 simple cuts on the adjacent teeth. And we can now use zirconia that's 1200 MPa that falls into that retentive cut. And we all know now how to bond to zirconia, so we can be really minimally invasive in our approach to doing bridges now, which is a great alternative for those patients who are not a good candidate for implants.
Interesting. And by the way, I read a lot of cyberbullying about from implantologists to bridge people and all that stuff. And if you have daddy issues, don't do it on social media to other dentists. I mean, if you really, I saw a guy the other day said that 3-unit bridges should be illegal. Really? Well, you should turn in your dental license, okay? Because what if they're missing a first molar and they have a low-hanging sinus, and number 2 has an MOD amalgam with recurrent decay, and number 4 has an MOD amalgam, and you don't want to do a 3-unit bridge, but you want to, and then you say, well, but you want to file down a virgin bone and lift up a virgin sinus. Why do dentists want the teeth have to keep their virginity, but when it comes to the virginity of a maxillary sinus, a bone graft, inferior alveolar nerve, I mean, they just throw grenades.
You're absolutely right.
It's like, if you want to go to the Church of Enamel, and then blow up all the bones and sinuses and nerves. I mean, they're just crazy, but there's still a place for bridges.
Absolutely. And, I agree. I think implants should be the number one option for a patient if possible. But to your point, sometimes they're not candidates for implants. Sometimes, with a sinus lift, or whether or not they have systemic issues, whether or not they're smokers, there are many cases where a patient is not the best candidate for an implant. And we shouldn't say that that's the only option. I couldn't agree more with you. Sometimes a bridge is a better option, one of which you described. Another option A patient may have systemic issues, maybe a heavy smoker, and placing an implant on that patient doesn't have a good longevity track history. So then we have to look for alternatives. And I believe, and for those of your listeners, I would love for them to go and find out about our bridge application, because it's minimal. They can use our guides to prep these teeth and deliver a 3-unit inlay retained bridge in half an hour, saving someone a lifetime of issues. And you and I both know there are millions of people walking around in the US with a missing tooth, and they don't want an implant. Now we have an alternative for them.
So, do you what do you think is going to be the biggest barrier to entry as you roll this out? Do you think it's going to be not having a dental lab close enough to them? Is it going to be they're going to need a course or a lecture? What do you think is going to be the most important thing in rolling this out?
I think, you and I both know this, Howard. We've been around this long enough that anytime there's a paradigm shift, anytime you have to change the way you're managing things in your practice, you need to make a commitment to that change. You need to make a commitment in learning about the new technology. You need to make a commitment to training your staff and your entire team to implement that technology. And it's a lot easier to do things the way they are every day in your practice than to make change. I think that's the biggest obstacle. What we're finding is once a dentist learns about the technology, once we get their staff on board, then the sky's the limit. But to get them to really get on board, that's the trick.
Now, when you said staff on board, were you talking about a staff infection?
The whole team, from the front office to the assistant to the team.
It was a pun. STAFF to STAPH, staff to staphylococcus infection. Sorry, it was a poor joke. Let's take off your dental hat, my dental hat, Dentistry Uncensored, and now spin around to the patient. Why does the patient? How's this better for the patient? What's the patient like about all this?
Oh my God. As a patient, this is a major development. So now we can tell a patient, look, the way we used to do veneers was you'd come in, we'd prep your teeth, we'd put temporaries on there, you'd leave, we pray to God the temporaries stay in, they don't irritate your gums, they don't leak, they don't contaminate the teeth. You come back, you still have them, we remove them, and we deliver your veneers to you. Or you just simply come in, we use guides, prep your teeth, and deliver the veneers to you in an hour and a half. I mean, it is a huge game changer as far as the patient's concerned. As far as the patient's concerned, you and I both know time is essential to them, but more importantly, making it simple and pain-free is critical. And this makes it easy on them. They no longer need to leave your practice with temporaries. They come in, you prep the teeth, you deliver the veneers. There's nothing better than delivering veneers to a freshly prepped tooth that's not been contaminated by temporaries.
Okay, now I want you to put your dad hat on. Let's just say your daughter just walked out of dental school, and she says, Dad, I got $285,000 in student loans. Do I need a $150,000 Dentsply Sirona CAD cam?
I've had chairside milling equipment, and I won't name them. I've never been great at using them. There are practices that do great at it, and they have the team and they know how to scan, they know how to mill, they know how to finish. And for those, power to them. But I was never good at it. I could never put a product in my patient's mouth that looked as good as and fit as well as the product that I received from my lab. So I would tell my daughter, look at FirstFit. Look at just buying a handpiece, sending a scan, letting someone else do the work for you to design the material, to design the product, to mill it for you, to finish it, send it to you with a set of guides, put the guides in your patient's mouth, prep the tooth, and deliver it. Save yourself the headache and save the patient from having to sit in the chair for 2 hours.
And I also want to remind, especially young boys who might not be nearly as understanding female beauty as there may be, but the woman who gets veneers isn't happy when her temporary falls off on Saturday night at 10 o'clock. Now, if you're a short, fat, bald guy, you figure, well, maybe if my temporary comes off, they won't notice the liver spot on my head. But that's not how beauty people work. So I think a cosmetic emergency on a woman is just as significant as a pain emergency on a man or a woman. Agree or disagree?
I couldn't agree more. And it's weird. Temporaries tend to fail. It's like they're on a timer. They fail at the most inappropriate time. The minute you get a chance to relax, kick back, you get that call. You know, I remember getting paged, and then nowadays I get a text or a call saying my temporary fell off and I'm flying somewhere or I have a commitment tomorrow and I have to go into the practice at the worst darn hour on earth and remake it temporary. I hated nothing more than that in my practice. I can tell you that.
But you know what you just referenced the Motorola pager back in the day. So the young kids probably don't know what that is, but when it started off, it was just a pager. It would just beep you and give you a digital phone number that you needed to call. But what was the most genius thing about Motorola is they had a rollout, and they decided who gets the most important phone call. Well, they decided it's a life and death. It was a doctor. So they worked just with the MDs, the physicians, oral surgeons, and they rolled it out perfectly. And within 6 months, your drug dealer had a pager. You know what I mean? Because everybody's like, oh, my God, the doctor has it. You know, that's, you know, I need it. And then I saw another company later come out, and it was called Palm. And Palm was another genius product, but they didn't pick anybody. They didn't roll it out with anybody. They just came out with the Palm Pilot, and all these companies looked at it, and all of a sudden UPS said, that's cool. I think we should make one for us. And then Hertz Rent-A-Car. That's cool. We should make one for us. And then you saw just every industry go make their own Palm Pilot because Palm couldn't start with one customer. So my question to you is, who is going to be your one customer? Who's going to be your product champion? Is it who's the dentist? What's the case? Is it a woman that's rushing to get married and she's going to elope to Vegas? I mean, what would be your Motorola versus Palm Pilot? What would be your specific rollout? The dentist and the case.
You know, I think at the end of the day, this technology serves the community that wants to have something immediate and minimally invasive. And I think that's really the way our lifestyle's moving to. We want things to be easy, safe, predictable, and immediate. Whether it's, you know, we're buying something on Amazon, whether it's, you know, we just want simplicity in our lives. And FirstFit does that. It allows a patient to go in and in half an hour to 40 minutes get a 3-unit bridge, or go into their dentist and change their smile in 2 hours in a predictable manner and feel safe and comfortable about it. Really, at the end of the day, that's where everything's moving to. And we feel this technology allows dentists to make life easier for their patients. Really, I think this is a technology that gives the patient what they want in an efficient manner. I think really, Howard, that's our ultimate goal with this.
Well, do you ever watch Shark Tank?
Yes.
So who's obviously the smartest guy on Shark Tank?
Well, you know, we all have our favorites.
No. The bald guy is definitely the smartest. Yeah. There's no the bald
Mr. Nice Guy
and Mr. Wonderful. And I'm looking at these cases, and you have the bald beauty genius Ross Nash. What is the other bald guy Ross Nash, the Mr. Wonderful of dentistry. What does he think about this?
He loves it. You should talk to Ross about this, Howard. You know him. You're good personal friends with him. He absolutely loves this. He's applying it. He's lecturing on it. He's teaching it in his institute. He's used it. He's had great results, and we're currently working with him on this.
Well, you gotta have him make an online C course on Dental Town, or are you doing online C courses?
We would love to partner with you and Ross and do this. So let's set it up. Let's do it.
Yeah, I think it's the and by the way, if you're a dentist and you're listening to this and you're just thinking, yeah, I don't know. I mean, guys, you're the same guys that always tell me you're burned out, you're fried, you wish you won the lottery, you want to quit, you hate dentistry, and then anytime someone comes out with something fun that might make you laugh or giggle, remember that Rolling Stones song where the guy runs 20 red lights on the way to work? You remember that song? I want. Here's my view of my homies. You go in there, the staff wants a raise, the insurance doesn't want to pay, the patient doesn't want to brush or floss, the patient thinks Obama or their boss should pay for the fact that they live off Dr. Pepper and never brush their teeth. Everybody's, it's so frustrating that the last place the dentists need is E-Throne. That's why in Dental Town we have the report abuse button. And if you come to Dental Town just to troll other dentists, you're gone. We get enough trolling from staff, patients, insurance companies. And if somebody comes out with an idea, like let's say you're a burned out fried dentist and buying a CAD cam or buying a laser or trying something new is what now lights you up and it makes you want to go to work. And it makes you want to have fun. Well, dude, don't take that away from your burned out fried homie. I mean, hell, I'm in Phoenix, Arizona. 1 to 3 different dentists commit suicide every single year. The last person I podcast on before you was from Portland. They had 2 last year. So maybe if you're burned out, maybe if you're fried, if you think a laser or a CAD cam or trying to do a Fitbit case, if something just piques your interest where you're like, that might be fun. You need more fun stuff. And to you dentists who sit there and tell me that I had a guy call me Sunday and told me he never, ever wants to do a molar root canal again. And you could hear it in his voice. He said, I'm so done with that. I hate them so much. I hate them so bad. I said, dude, look, it's Sunday. When you're talking to another dentist on a Sunday morning and you said you've hated endo 5 times in a row, dude, stop doing endo. You don't appear happy. I mean, it's 9 o'clock in the morning on a Sunday. You should be on your second beer by now, waiting for the first football game, and you're calling dentists telling you how much you know what I mean. So do you think this would be fun? Do you think FirstFit would be fun?
Every dentist that's using this in their technology says it makes it so simple and fun. They're excited about doing dentistry. I've had guys who said, I was about to retire, and here's something I really enjoy doing. And it's so easy and predictable. It takes the stress away from me, takes the stress away from my team and the patient. Absolutely, Howard. You're hitting on a nerve. You're absolutely right. We need to have more fun in our practices. We need to enjoy what we're doing. And once we start doing that, dentistry becomes fun. And then we start taking better care of ourselves and our patients.
Well said. And let me tell you something else that's fun. When you learn a new procedure and you're thinking to yourself, God, I've only done one Invisalign case, or I've only done one FirstFit case, or you're sitting there thinking, well, who's going to be my first case? Well, what I always did is I always told the team, I said, come on, we got 50 people. I'm going to do my first Invisalign case. Anybody want Invisalign? Or going back to Omni. Remember Omni bleaching? It came out of Arkansas. It was Omni whitening gel Omnicare out of, what was it in Arkansas? Do you remember the city in Arkansas? Was it Fayetteville, Arkansas? Or
I can't even remember.
Yeah,
But I
and it
do
was
remember.
$900 for six little
Yeah.
bottles of carbamide peroxide,
Yeah.
10%. But anyway, I would tell my staff, and they'd all jump up and down. Let's go back to just the Omni example. When I did the Omni example, I had 6 girls in my office that, I'll try it. I'll try it. And so then those girls were all doing it. So then here comes my first patient, and Cyrus says, well, I mean, have you done this before? I'm like, the assistant Jan did it. Yeah, Mary up front. And they're all like showing their teeth and smiling. So man, when you're going to try to like do your first implant, instead of freaking out thinking, well, who am I going to do my first implant? Ask your friends and ask your staff. And then you know how cool it is for the rest of your life when they say, you think this dental implant will work? You can turn to your assistant and say, I don't know, Amy, what do you think? Was it the first one I ever did on your mother? And she's like, yeah, she loves it. And now the patient's like, okay, he did it on his assistant's mom, so she trusts him. And so just build that camaraderie. And if you've never done one before, and if you're not sure if you should ever try this, get your whole team involved. Get them, go to firstfit.com, have them watch. And by the way, this is not a commercial. No one paid. How much money did you pay to be on this show, Cyrus?
$0.
$0.
And Howard, I'm so appreciative.
And
for
that's
you
because
having
we
me.
funneled the money through Ross Nash. The money went to Ross Nash and then was sent UPS back to Phoenix. And then Deborah Engelhart flew up and drove it to my house. It's a long story, but we keep it legal. But anyway, so Dennis, have fun. Try something new. Quit eating your young. Cyrus, you were so amazing to come on the show and talk about this. I hope you post it on Dental Town. I hope you post some of these cases on there. And I hope you also know that when you post anything, at least 1% of the dentists will try to eat you for lunch. And that's why we have a report abuse button. And it's perfectly okay to have questions. It's perfectly okay to say, I don't know. Just have a conversation like you would if you were in your own kitchen table in your own home talking to a friend. But if you're going to barge in there, kick the door down, and say something stupid, Dental Town has 250,000 dentists, and we don't need one toxic guy. I'd rather have half the community with no one toxic than twice as much. We just don't need toxicity. And my God, Cyrus, you are so fun. And thank you so much for coming on the show. And best of luck with FirstFit.
Howard, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for all you do for dentistry. And I'm really appreciative to have spent this time with you. Thank you to you and to your team.